Reverence, are you back? Oh no, my man Reverence returning back as a Destru Warlock. Dude, he's gonna be enjoying that Soulfire buff next week, aren't ya? That's a nice little buff there, doing 20% more damage on Soulfire. This is going to be kind of nutty. Cloaker Shadows immediately for Dally. He got him some Deathmark, but Reverence boarding out of there, making sure to cut out Dally. Second Shadow Step up and running, got himself the Dark Pack. Should give him a little bit of protection as Dally loaded up full of dots, full of poisons. But the man, he's just taking a lot of damage. Could be going down right here. Next Shadow Burn could be the end of this man into a cheap Shadow after. Definitely needed to go for a Garou, but Reverence does end up crushing the boy, planting a banner on him. Does not want to fight against his rogue whatsoever. With Mage 2 gonna be up next from one after the other. So far, Reverence. Strong Shaman versus a rogue, countering that Deathmark damage very, very quickly. Also, they're buffing you guys' Chaos Bolt very, very soon. Next week, man. Next week, this man doesn't even need the Chaos Bolt, but like, it's just gonna give him more output. Big arcade damage by Mage 2. Trying to see if he can go for a setup. Soulfire gonna be out for Reverence. This is doing a lot of damage. He's able to break through shield. Actually, quite a bit of damage with that ability. Reflect up onto Mage 2 with a Chaos Bolt. Can't really interrupt Reverence. Does try to go. What looked like a kick over. Wait, did you kick yourself? Hold on. Wait a second. Are you just dead? Oh my god. I think he just kicked himself. Chad, he threw a kick at Reverence, which he had to reflect up. That kick hit Mage 2. He's running premonition, so whenever he jukes a kick, which he juked his own kick, he gains a haze buff and immunity to CC. He literally gave himself a haze buff and immunity. He got himself a Pride Ass proc. Reverence though got a lot of sustain. Oh, before even the ult time could go through, the man just getting singed. That Incinerate did a little bit more damage than expected, and so far this man is just bannering everybody. He just absolutely planting banners into these boys. What's Chicago gonna be up next? Over for the team 2, get him blasted. Yet another Soulfire, got himself a bunch of wind strikes versus Reverence. Big succubus, you see trinketing it just to make sure he's able to line behind the pillar. Does drop down to Grottic Totem too. So far, Reverence have had a fairly strong position. My goodness. Gonna be Chicago. Yet another sentence brocking off of those storm strikes. Is able to get a couple of wind strikes, putting some pressure into the Warlock. Big Chaos Bolt from a distance. Chicago does get hit, but is gonna have to back up behind the pillar, looking for recovery. Sunder by Chicago onto Reverence with a Dark Pack. Should have himself plenty of defense in order to fight through the Shaman. Gonna be the succubus. He doesn't have trick it out of it. Mortical said at Chicago. Try to see maybe he can drop down the Stun Totem next to Reverence. Is he potentially able to? Big Soulfire by the Warlock, unable to really go anywhere right now with that totem trap into place. Big Casbo though does get Chicago extremely low, trying to go for a little bit of extra health to work with, trying to maybe get himself a healing surge to follow. Not much you can really do at the moment, with Reverence looking to back up out of there for just a second. Chicago trying to find himself a way better angle. Succubus out in the middle is going to start pressure at the thing, maybe hoping to maybe land and interrupt on it if in case it goes in for any kind of CC, or maybe just take it behind the pillar, take it out, separate it away from Reverence, and try to see if him and Reverence and Succubus being separated. One pet gets slammed down with Reverence being solo. Maybe that'll end up helping him a bit. Succubus C right around the corner. Bonzafell to follow. Maybe potentially a ton of pressure on Chicago. Do the move out of the Bonzafell. Kind of has to stay where they are. It's going to end up breaking the bond. And it's going to be a board for Reverence. Put himself out in the open next to Chicago with a fear right after. Is it going to be another? Going to be ground on him at the last second. Trying to go for a bit of a cast. Going to be the reflect for Reverence. Trying to make sure maybe he can get not interrupted. Sunder disrupted for a second. I think the Soulfire did go through either way. Wall with cancels back to back. Reverence trying to see if he can finish the job right here. And Chicago dropping down the Sun Totem for just a moment. Waddling towards Reverence. Is it going to be enough though? Got himself a bit of a shield fear onto one of the Raptors, setting it and running in the opposite direction. And Chicago again pulls back behind the pillar, sitting back with a Succubus. Hopefully should be for the most part okay. With Reverence, got himself a bit of a first aid. Defense is coming back up a little by little. Mortal Coil coming back up. Could potentially use Reflect. And Chicago actually caught up fully on health. Low in mana at 32% dampening. So maybe the recovery maybe slowed down. Maybe stunted a little bit. Succubus CC off of that Mortal Coil. Does end up bursting down Chicago with a conflagration. But does realize that he's just breaking his own CC though. It's gonna have to back up for a little bit until he gets some defenses. May have to pop the reflect really early on, especially if he wants to get a cast off or two. For Chicago, better be ready to start purging the cast as soon as possible. Got himself static totem, putting Reverence out in the open. Gonna be a freshly succubus getting summoned up with potentially stun totem as well. No, yes, it is gonna be stun totem afterwards. It is gonna be capacitor. And then blast on a Reverence. Got himself a bit of a reflect. Maybe that'll give himself a little ability. Chicago trying to see if he can purge any kind of buffs off of him. No dark back for the Warlock for just yet. It's gonna be succubus, but somehow succubus ends up breaking the CC, and that's gonna be Chicago with a wind burst. Ooh, wind strikes at the very end do end up taking him out, with Chilpa's kind of waddling over towards Chicago, giving him as much of an honor duel as humanly possible. Oh, what? Oh my goodness. What BM, man? What BM? With Chilpills getting himself a full grippy hand and the ready stun onto Chicago. Does go for trick and thunder onto Chilpills just to give himself a bit of a breather, but the death that is unstoppable with his burst, absolutely just chunking out Chicago with a back-to-back obliterates. Oh my goodness. The BM with them flags, boys. Are you kidding me? GG Flex is going to be up next. Flex, who's got himself very deadly, surprisingly deadly survival hunter build. Can actually do a ton of damage. Not super survivable himself, but the damage he could do is absolutely fantastic. Flank and strike onto Chilled. Got himself the range Mongoose bites. Trying to see if he can break away from Chills, who's trying to stay melee to leech off of those death strikes. Stun onto Chill. Has a trigger for this one. Flex got himself a heal. Could potentially be a turtle. Chill's trying to use everything he can to survive. Dark Bang getting used. Does give himself a little bit of a health buffer, but doesn't really let him recover whatsoever. Stun onto Flex, got himself Remorseless Winter, trying to see if he can at least trap Flex in place, but he's going to be able to chip away at Chilpas from a distance, trying to maybe make some obliterates happen. Cannot really heal in this situation. Flex does end up taking him down, got super low. I think might have been a Bear's Fortitude that gave him a little bit extra health to work with. Short and deadly. Up next, Stormbolt on Reflex does get himself a reflect onto the freezing trap to lock him down for just a moment. Well done, man. Being able to line up a freezing trap or reflect off of this freezing trap to the warrior is a skill. Being able to figure out which traps the hunter is going to use on you also is a bit of like a mind games, mind reading type of ability here. But well done for this man, honestly. Well done. Try to see if he can mount up. No! Another reflect, 2 for 2 so far. Spear, nowhere for Flex to go. Does get a scatter with a stun right after. Can't really go anywhere. Just trying to see if he gives himself a little bit of survivability. Ruin onto Short. And looks like Short may be just okay. Big execute 1, execute 2, taking him down. Looking for a bit of a resetting behind the pillar. As Bandolera, is that what the name is? Bandolera is going to be up next as an assassination rogue, going over the sap. Could have shot immediately onto Short. Deadly full dots up and running. Got himself fully loaded up. Is that going to be Deathmark potentially? Disrupt to follow. Got himself all the poisons, all the dots, and all the bleeds. And Short deadly got himself a parry, hoping to maybe get himself some counter damage versus Bandolero. Fully dotted up. That's not even Deathmark, and the man is just melting. At least that Ignore Paint is going to help him out a little bit. Swap it out to defensive stance immediately. I think he just realized that, you know what? Played against a rogue, there's not much it can really do. Actually, I think surrendered to take just enough damage. Gateways are up, gonna be the cheat dead. This is gonna be enough right here. But earlier, trying to see if he can add. No, he does turn around. Are you kidding me? There is no way with Seabar going in with a dot and a Star Surge, not letting the rogue escape unharmed. Well done for my boy Reverend. Chicago Chill Pills. Just about everybody got a chance to play, didn't they, huh? Well done, boys. Hey, let's go.